I'd ask Don Fox to read this statement, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. The issue of Second Amendment protection is an important one for a community such as Burrillville. We're a small rural town. Many of us are outdoor people, hunters, farmers. Some of us are members of gun clubs where we practice our marksmanship and we compete. Burrillville does not have a history of gun violence. We refuse to become a pawn in the polarized debate about gun violence that has drawn outrageous half-truths from advocates on both sides. The Burrillville Town Council is has adopted the Second Amendment Sanctuary Town Resolution, and in adopting it is not seeking to ignore or circumvent state laws. Rather, we are stating our commitment to following the laws as set forth in both the Rhode Island and the United States Constitutions. We are not prohibiting our police department from enforcing the law. We recognize and uphold the laws that are currently on the books regarding gun purchases and ownership. We are, however, concerned that pending legislation, as proposed, may infringe on residents' constitutional rights. If passed, that would be a decision for the courts. In the meantime, we are saying we will not support pending legislation that we believe will infringe on our citizens' Second Amendment right to bear arms. What the resolution recognizes: 1. The Second Amendment to the United States Constitution protects the inalienable and individual right of the people to keep and bear arms. 2. The right has been affirmed in rulings by the United States Supreme Court. 3. The Rhode Island Constitution provides that the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, and also recognizes that people shall not be subjected to searches and seizures without probable cause and a warrant. 4. Rhode Island gun sales require in-state residency, background checks, 8-day waiting period, and a blue card pistol revolver certification for handgun purchases. Gun purchases are prohibited on behalf of another person, for anyone under indictment or convicted of a felony or crime that would result in imprisonment for more than a year, for any unlawful user of drugs, for anyone adjudicated as a mental defect or been committed to a mental institution, for anyone dishonorably discharged from the military, for anyone subject to a restraining order, for anyone convicted of a misdemeanor crime of domestic violence, for anyone who has renounced their citizenship or is an illegal or unlawful alien. 6. That the town council members took an oath to support and defend the U.S. and Rhode Island constitutions. What the resolution says: 1. The town affirms its support for its police department to exercise sound discretion when enforcing laws impacting the rights of citizens under the Second Amendment. 2. The town will not appropriate taxpayer monies for enforcement of legislation that unconstitutionally infringes upon the rights of the people of Burrillville to keep and bear arms. That includes funds for building space or storage systems for weapons seized pursuant to the requirements of the legislation. The town objects to incremental erosion of Second Amendment rights caused by the passage of controversial legislation that continually tests the constitutionality of those rights. Appropriately expresses the town's viewpoint on a constitutional issue that is important to its residents, and does so in a timely fashion so that it may be taken into consideration as legislation is pending at the Rhode Island State House. The resolution does not prohibit the town police department from enforcing the law, nor does it circumvent any of the existing gun purchase prohibitions. Madam Clerk, I would ask that this be submitted to all of the press outlets. And I have copies of the statement that is here.
Anybody, so they can put it Someone first.